Oh, it's kind of beautiful out. Got interesting colors in the sky and a little snow. And I got warm enough to melt it off. I'm finding peace in little moments. This weekend was crazy. We had been working on getting my stepsons, my husband's sons, back. Their mother kept them after the summer break and refused to bring them back. And it went on and on and on and on. And she ended up getting arrested. And then her friend kidnapped the kids and took about 3 hours to find them. And it's a lot. And then they get here and they're different. Things that they used to do, they don't, or vice versa. And it's going to be an adjustment. But I'd like to share kind of everything else that has occurred there in the middle and where God has been. And Mama, there have been little moments like this little corner right here. This is my favorite. These little moments are bringing me some kind of solace. And God has provided every second of the way. And the big thing that I pulled from today at church was that I simply need to follow God through it all. And so I'm going to take you on this journey. Kind of catch you up from what happened and how we coped with it, or maybe didn't cope with it. And kind of where things are going from here. So that's my recap. Quick little idea of how our crazy lives have been. And now I'll show you the rest. I don't even know what to think, what to say, what to feel. My stepsons have been kidnapped. My children have been kidnapped. We know who has them. Their mother's in custody. We don't know if they have a car. We don't know if they're on foot. Somewhere out in the woods. There's about 1 million places they could hide. And I'm feeling so helpless in the waiting. There's an entire manhunt. I know that law enforcement has us handled. They were prepped for it because we warned them. And, you watch this kind of stuff on TV and there's just this cut scene and they go to the next thing that happens. And in real life, there's no cut scene. And all I can do is pray. I just keep telling God, I don't know what else to do. I have no control. There's nothing I can do to help, and it's not my job to help. I have to stay out of the way and let law enforcement do what they're doing. And I'm raw. What do you do? Johnny's in a whole different state. And he's having to wait there, and so then my heart is with my husband that I can't be there, but I'm just as alone here right now. It's snowing, roads are icy, and I don't have a car currently anyway, and so and maybe that's okay. Maybe I need to be alone with God for a little while. Hey, baby. What do you do? How do you wait? I know it's gonna turn out for the best. God keeps saying, trust me more. I'm still working. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Thank God he's feeling all right. I've cleaned my kitchen. I've read my devotional. I've tried to do anything and everything to keep my mind off of it, and it's just, the minutes tick by like they're hours. Nobody ever shows this part. Nobody ever talks about this part. My best friend doesn't know what to say, and I wouldn't know what to say either. You never imagine. I mean, can't lie, I've probably imagined. I imagine a lot of worst case scenarios, or I used to. But to have to be in it it's different. We thought everything was good. He got there and had no issues with the weather, praise God. And the sheriff's asked him to wait in town. Didn't know if it was going to take a few days to find their mother. But she answered the door and said they had him go to the house, and he saw the kids. He saw them. And everything was going smoothly. Everyone was cooperating. Their mom was in the car, detained. And her friend, well, let me help them get their coats and stuff.
Mama.
The sheriff's deputy apologized to Johnny. He's like, hi. He's like, we just thought everything was going okay. Everyone was cooperating. And so now it's the whole waiting game. Stay in town. We've got the manhunt. We've got the drones out. We've got everything going. I'm kind of in disbelief. You go back and forth from, we're finally getting our children back, to, they're gone again. This has happened one time too many. But at this point, it's all documented. And so I pray that this nightmare is about to be over. Not just this chapter, but the whole book. I want this whole book to end. I'm ready to write something new. Just gotta get through the waiting. So, I don't know when I'll post anything. I just kind of want a catalog. Because I know God's in it. I know God's working. I have no doubt. It's just, this is not how I wanted it to go. For anybody. So, I gotta let God do what he does. And in the meantime, be still and know that I am God. Be still. So, they just found them. And the police have them in custody. So Johnny's going to pick them up now. I don't know anything else. I just, 3 hours. 3 hours of just waiting. But they're okay. It's gonna be okay. And very, very soon we're gonna be able to have them in the car. There should be nothing else. Oh, there should be nothing else in the way. So, God is good. God is always good. I'm just a wreck still. I'm a little bit numb, and then there's that fear of, like, getting too excited that we finally have them again. But the police are there. The police have them. They've been picked up. Johnny's picking them up at the station. There should be nothing else. Thank you, God. your father. Oh, what an experience. In the interest of maintaining my records of everything, because this has been crazy. Johnny has the boys. They're on their way home. They're in the car. They had to stop at, excuse me, my stomach is angry. They had to stop at Walmart because Grayson's shoes were too small. His pants were about that far up his legs and itty bitty on his waist. Definitely too small. And then Jace's shoes were too big and falling apart. So he got him a whole new wardrobe before bringing them home, which is perfect because we don't have a whole lot of shopping here. And so they're on their way. They seem okay about everything. They were a little confused. I guess they didn't know why they were coming home. And then they were told to run, but they didn't know why. They were all found out in the woods. I guess the boys have a whole lot of scratches and cuts up their legs because they were dragged through thickets and whatnot. The friend who kidnapped them is in custody. She was arrested. I don't know. It's hard. This whole thing, like, it still doesn't feel real that I spent 3 hours waiting and waiting. And then when we found out that they were found, it's like, is there going to be something else? Like, they're actually in police custody, right? You know, and so all of the questions, and it took about an hour for me to hear back from Johnny, and I don't know, he probably, you know, got the kids, got everything set up, and he called me when he was at Walmart, but it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And so now there's a piece that this is over, but my body is still reeling. It's like my body is still processing all of the trauma and the tension. And so I've had to take some muscle relaxers. I was super nauseous, drinking some peppermint tea, just trying to calm everything down. My mind is clear. I know there are going to be some struggles. They asked a few questions. Johnny explained, like, you guys did nothing wrong. They don't know the depth of everything. And it might be a while before they do. I mean, developmentally, they're a little bit behind. And I'm hoping that ignorance to it is a protective mechanism for them. Because this whole thing, it's traumatic, period. Anytime you're removed from somebody's home, it's traumatic. And then when you get picked up by the police and your mom's been arrested and your mom's friend has been arrested and you don't know why you're running, I can't even fathom it. But what I do know is that God has equipped me for this moment. In everything I have been through and all of my various training, counseling, and studies on development, and God has filled my toolbox. And I'm not worried. In the past, I have been. Wasn't always sure that I could really handle this. They're tough sometimes. And moving between such drastically different households back and forth it's a lot harder to maintain any consistency or any sense of what right and wrong looks like when one house is like, these are our rules, and the other house is like, meh, we don't have rules. But we can provide that stability. And ultimately, that's what matters. They need that stability to continue developing. I'm going to have a long, hard road getting them up to par educationally. The school system before, we almost had them up to grade level within the 2 years that we had them in school. And now there's this. So we'll see. There's a lot of unknown what to expect, what kind of battles we're going to have to fight. But if I think about it, I worry, but it's not a worry. It's like, what other information do I need? And even at that, what constantly comes to mind is the verse. It's not even related to this necessarily, but I can't remember what all it says specifically, but basically don't worry about what you're going to say, because in that moment, the Spirit will tell you the words. And I can't worry about what I'm going to say. I can't worry about what resources we need. I can't worry about what phone calls I'm going to have to make next week. I can't worry about what other needs are going to come up. I have to be here and now, and God came through. Oh, God came through in a huge, huge way. And the amount of support that we have had, the number of people we had praying, I mean, I think there were probably 200 people praying at the time. And to know that many groups of Christians are there to support, that's everything. God has brought us community. Even if some of that community is vicarious through others, God has brought us community. And that's what the church, the people in the church is all about. And so not only to see how God has provided monetarily for what we need, how the weather has cooperated, how even in the worst, those worst moments, those 3 hours of just complete helplessness, seeing where God came through, it's encouraging. It builds that hope, and it just instills even more so how real and present and loving He is. And so, well, there's a little one waking up. So for now, that's the end of today's traumatic journey. Hopefully. It's the end of that trauma. And we're going to rest in God and wait until He gets here, and wait until Johnny gets here. I mean, we're always waiting until God gets here. Anytime I'm ready to come home. But, yeah, it's time to rest. I came to the store to take some time away. It's been a hard weekend. And I thought that things were going to be so much better and easier when they were here. And if I'm being transparent, they're hard. Things are hard. There's a lot of adjusting. There's a lot of reteaching things that I didn't anticipate. And I tend to get over ambitious, maybe overly hopeful, thinking that I can do all the things, and then I get overwhelmed very quickly. And I'm beginning to identify where that overwhelm comes from. And it's a lot of, it's just overstimulation, I guess. I can only take in so many stimuli at once, and I'm a little hyper aware of certain things. And so it's like, with 3 children, 2 of whom are much more active and hyper than the baby, and the baby who, follows suit. Then you have 3 crazy children. For the past month and a half, I've had this nice, clean house, quiet house, easy routines, time to read, time to study, and my space has been taken over, and we had to rearrange our living room. because otherwise it was too small for that many children to be playing in there. And they have stairs that go above the master bedroom, and with children, that was a terrible design idea. So I can kind of laugh about it. It's getting there. This morning was rough, but we made it to church, a little late. The music, I needed to praise. I needed to find God's presence again, and boy, I did. It got me to breathe. And the sermon was a whole lot of like how we need to prep and keep God at the center of this next year, and what things God has in his plan. It needs to be his vision. And it was like, what is God's vision for my life right now? What does he want me to be doing? And from last night to this morning, there was a whole lot of anxiety and doubt and fear about whether I really do have the skills to do this, whether I really am on the right path, whether I'm not going to be able to do things in my journey or keep seeking God first. Like, everything felt out of order. And I know the vision God has for me. It feels pretty clear. And what the kids need is for me to seek God first. My job is first and foremost to seek God, period. If I am in the middle of chaos, I need to find God in it, not try to rely on my strength, because my strength is not enough. I was venting to a group of friends, and I feel fragile. Like, every little thing is too much stimulus and I fall apart. I feel fragile. And one of my friends goes, "Fragile is not how I would describe you." And I'm not really. There's like a flexibility to the fragile, but I guess in a sense I am fragile, but when I have God's strength, I'm not. Then I'm flexible and bendable, and I can flow with whatever I need to. I just have to remain in God's presence. And so that's my challenge right now. And I think moving into this next year, it feels like my focus is slowing down and letting God lead. I used imagery of a dance as I was kind of writing things out, and it's like dancing with Jesus. I'm terrible at dancing because I have a hard time letting the guy lead, right? And the one time I could, it was enjoyable. It was a journey I got to take. And so the imagery of learning to dance with Jesus, almost like a child standing on the adult's feet as they show them step by step what to do, and then they guide the direction around the room and what happens between the music or in the music, and I have to slow down and just follow. None of this is on my timing, which is really frustrating, but God's timing is always better, and has been. In this whole journey, it has been. So that's where I'm trying to focus and slow down. Anyway. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to kind of vent and explain what's going on. And I don't ever want this content, the things that I share, to be like me complaining, because I can complain. And some of it, I guess I am. But I want the focus to always be back on Jesus. How he has given me the strength to move forward. How his grace helps me to give myself grace. And how I have to learn to manage these situations. Guiding people is not about being perfect. Guiding people is about sharing how we learn and what the struggles look like, and normalizing that we all struggle. We all struggle. God made us to struggle so that we would rely on him, because all that he wants is our love, our relationship, our lives. And so the struggle brings us to his feet. And despite how hard it's been, there's no place I'd rather be than at the feet of Jesus.